Okay, hello Appa. I want to now give you a report and same time get some answer from God by reporting to you. Just now I felt that the reason why I cannot meet God is because first reason is because I have many wrong concepts about God and plus also I don't know who is God. And through the NDE, I could more realize who is really God, and also through my own experience, I could more understand who is God. Simply say, God is same like me. In the NDE, what is most special for me, the man who was making the movie, he talked about that God is the best cheerleader for us, and he not just know us, he not just like us, he not just love us, but he's mad on us. This information, these words really stimulate me quite a lot.
And then I met him, and I'll never forget that overwhelming sensation of being in the presence of the divine. And it's as if like a laser beam went through my head, and all of a sudden I understood. I understood things that I never understood before. I felt things I hadn't felt before. And whoever this was in front of me, I trusted. And I was overwhelmed with pure love. And it wasn't like the kind of love like, I love you. I'm going to treat you with love, or I'm going to act like I love you, or do loving things. I was in the presence of the total embodiment of love. I was in the presence of the author of love. I was in the presence of the source of love. And it was consuming, totally consuming. It's like that. I was in the presence of God, and that's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. The creator of the universe doesn't just know you, doesn't just like you, doesn't just love you. But the creator of the universe is madly in love with you, madly in love with you, and has hoped every hope with you, has dreamed every dream, has shed every tear, has felt those moments when you've had doubts and concerns and questions. He's been there with you the whole way. And in fact, it's not just loving you, it's not just madly love you, but the creator of the universe is your greatest cheerleader, your biggest cheerleader.
And also about, the God who came to her DNA, and God was saying that God is inside her DNA. So we cannot say that God is not her father. And also that God was like surprising her, and I felt like God is really laughing also through.
And so I just opened up, and he grabbed my hand, and we started going through the spirals of my DNA. And I was looking at everything, and as we would go through a strand, I could feel it like stroke over my skin, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. And we're going, and it's super fast, we're going really, really fast, and we get down to this one spot, and he just stops, like hitting a wall, and he says, do you see me? And I'm like, well, yeah, you're everywhere, of course I see you. And he's like, no. And he points to this spot in my DNA, and he's like, right there. Do you see me? And I looked, and I did. And it was in that part of our DNA that they call junk DNA, that we don't know what that DNA does. And it was funny because it hadn't actually been that long ago that I had read about junk DNA, and he was right there. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're in me? He's like, yes, I'm your father, just like your father is your father. You can say he's not, but we could do testing and figure out that he is. He's your biological father, whether you want to admit it or not. And I'm your father, whether people want to admit it or not. And it just blew me away. And so I knew at that point that if we went past that, then I was staying. And I'm like, all right, I'm in, let's stay, And I felt like so loved and accepted, like I didn't have to do another thing. A lot of us have this idea that you've got to constantly be doing for God to be loved. You have to be doing something that measures up. And it wasn't like that. He loved me because he made me, and he adored me, and he thought me up. And I remember thinking, how long did he think of me? Because I thought of my children before I had them. And when I first got pregnant, what would they be like? And what would their lives be like? And I thought it can't be much different for God. He's knitting you together, and he's got to be, kind of seeing you live out your life. And I thought, how long did he think of me before he decided to make me? And he made me on purpose. He could have made somebody else. but I'm on purpose for a purpose. And I'd never really gotten that. And I looked back at my life and I thought, you've wasted it. Yes, you're a nurse and you're raising good kids and all this stuff, but you've not fulfilled your purpose. And if you check out now, I mean, it's like cheating. You just quit. You're just a quitter. And I didn't want to be a quitter, and I felt like I had not embraced everything that I am by being a creation of God, by building that wall around me. And so I wake up, I'm in the hospital room. There's a nurse sitting beside the bed and she's like, "Oh, you're back." And I look at her and I said, "I was with God." And she's like, "Oh, that's nice, dear." I'm like, no, I mean, like just a minute ago, I was with God. And she's like, "Oh, that's good. Let me go get your family." So she goes and gets the family. And I'm like, "I was with God. I mean, just a minute ago, I was with God." And they're like, "That's good." And they're looking at the nurse and she's like, "Well, maybe everybody should leave. She's just been off the vent for a little while. We don't want to wear her out." And so she sends everybody away and she leaves the room and turns the lights off and pulls this curtain in front of this glass like wall that's in that room so they can see you. And God reappears like in the room. And it scared me and I screamed because I didn't expect him just to pop in. And he laughed. I'm like, "Oh, you scared me." And so he laughs. He's like, "Why did I scare you?" And I'm like, "Well, I thought you were gone." He says, "I'm never gone." I'm like, "Well, I know you're never gone, but you don't just pop into rooms like that. That's startling, And he thought it was funny. And so he had given me this message and he's like, "I want you to share this message with the world." And, that he is God and he is the creator and that we are made on purpose for a purpose.
And I felt like God is really, laughing also, through the other woman, like when God laughed, it was so, like a virus, spreading the laugh.
And I looked at him and I said, "I don't think so. This is huge. And with all of this and just me and you would not like me after the first 10 minutes because I would talk your ear off and you wouldn't like me anymore." And when I said that, he kind of threw his head back and he had the bluest, sparkly blue eyes. His eyes were just magnificent. And when he laughed, his laugh was so contagious that I started laughing and I thought, that was the dumbest thing to say to God. No, I mean, who does that? So I don't know. I was kind of embarrassed at my response, and he just laughed. And then we went back and sat down with the log.
And also from my own experience, I felt like God is the most practical person. And I felt I need to learn everything from God. And I felt many times that God wants to teach me really many things. And I felt God is also jealous on us because God have no body like us. So God wants to do many things. And also in the way of tradition, True Father said that what he said, he talked about that God did for a long time God didn't have a really result on what he's doing. But now when you hear about the people, our movement, our church that who wants to help God, how much he's happy. So I was like thinking like, what does it mean that he didn't have a result long time? And also there is a way of tradition sentence that, like God have a big notebook and written everything about us, how to guide us. So it was really inspiring. And also one more thing was, and also that God was trying to approach us every moment, every time. So I was thinking like, what does it mean? You said that God whispered to us. So I was thinking like how it will be difficult for God. And my experience was that I felt like God is like 2 times or 100 times more excited than us about which we are excited. And one time God told me that, like, do you remember that you made fundraising? And he said that he made fundraising every day. So this was very like touching because he tried to approach every day, every person. And one time God said to me, like people doesn't understand me. That's the problem. So I felt like, yeah. And also God is always, feeling like sorry, also from your experience. And I felt like one time in Anyangsan Mountains, I was studying and giving lecture from my notebook to God about man-woman sexual organ, and I felt like God was observing me. And many times you say God was learning, and still He's learning from Lorna. Also, we heard.
God tells me that He's still learning how to understand us Himself. But His love for us is undeniable, is unconditioned in every way. And God just said, I am giving all of the time in, what's the word He used, in abundance to every man, woman and child. But most of the time they don't notice, they don't see. And I guess that is because we're so caught up maybe in all of the material things, and we have forgotten about our soul. We only call on God and our guardian angel when we ourselves think we need them.
And I felt like, in Anyangsan, when I was praying for Stephen, I felt God was coming to me and praying together with me, near to me. And you said one time in the Way of Tradition written, like we pray for God, we pray to God so many things, but actually God is praying to us. God is wishing to us that we can do the good job for Him and this. And also, I felt like when God will see the victims of these 50 voices and other survivor of SRA, I think He will be like so angry to Himself, because He cannot really help people. Like it's like when you watch some movie, it's unrighteous. You want to kill the perpetrator. You want to really help the victim, but you cannot do anything. So I think like God see us like this kind of way. Yeah, so this kind of, I have more experience, but this is some essence. Anyway, so I think the reason first is that about wrong concepts about God, and we don't know who is really God, how much He is great, how much He loves us, and how much He is practical. And second reason is I think because we are too material, like Lorna said. So we have too much idea, we have too much thinking, because we are creative also, but we don't have a vertical line, therefore. And we're doing too many things. So like for God, it's not easy to approach us. For God, it's not easy to whisper to us, for guiding us that we can do some activity what He wants. And number three reason also that we focusing too much for external things, and we don't focus for love, we don't focus for heart. Yeah, I think that's that sense. And number three reason why I cannot meet God is because I'm too complicated. Like you said, God is very simple. And I was thinking, actually I couldn't more find out about this, what does it mean exactly. Anyway, I wanted to share you this. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.